Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
It is a scary scene that could have been so much worse. We are happy to report there are no reports of any serious injuries in this school bus crash you see here.
That crash involving two school buses. These are a couple of images taken from our TransGuide cameras late this afternoon, right after that crash happened. It happened in the southbound lanes of Highway 281 near the Redland Road exit. That's on the north side of town, just north of Loop 1604.
The two school buses involved are with Northeast Independent School District. The district says the two buses, both from Tejeda Middle School, collided with each other.
We are told that there were around 40 students on one bus and about 26 students on the other. Again, San Antonio police saying that there are no serious injuries to report.
We also know parents being reunited with their children at Tejeda Middle School, and that's where we find our John Paul Barajas right now on campus.
So John Paul, we know you just arrived at Tejeda. Have you seen parents picking up their kids so far?
Steve, Myra, we've been here since about 5:15, and we've seen an abundance of cars pulling into the pickup line over here. But also the main thing we saw was a school bus escorted by police pull into this other entrance. They pulled into this parking lot. We saw dozens of students get off and go inside. Visually, we haven't been able to see too much just because of the way this setup is here at Tejeda Middle School. As I mentioned, parent pickup line comes here. They go all the way to the back of the building, so we haven't seen too many. I've been trying to talk to parents on the other side when they are exiting. A lot of the parents that we've spoken to up to this point did not have a student on that bus because these are parents picking up for after-school programs, volleyball practice, football practice, things of that nature. One of those parents did tell me that his son would have been on one of those buses, but he instead was here at football practice. The other thing that you guys mentioned is, and the most important thing is, no injuries at all. I know everyone is extremely thankful for that, but something you just got to imagine is that regardless if there was no injuries, these parents have to have some sense of urgency and want to get their kids back home after so many students had to be escorted off those buses on a highway while it was raining. I'm sure those reunifications are truly heartbreaking or heart-warming when they get to reunite once again. Steve, Myra?
Yeah, JP, a lot of concern for those parents. Again, thankfully, no serious injuries. Thanks, John Paul. Let's take a look here at that area of Highway 281 where we've been watching this crash and that scene develop over the last few hours. So the traffic coming towards the camera, those are the southbound lanes where the accident happened earlier. Much cleaner scene now. You can see that there are no flashing lights, still some cars out there, but things moving along just fine. And John Paul mentioned the rain. It looks like the roads are all dry in this area, but that was not the case right after that.
Yeah,
crash.
this is a much different picture than we saw, 30 minutes ago, Adam.
It's coming down pretty hard, especially at 5 p.m. It was coming down pretty hard in that area. And even other parts of town, even Medical Center, west side of town, had some heavy rain. Now it's on the far southwest side, just about to eclipse Somerset. Lytle about to get a good hit of rain. But keep in mind, this is dissipating. It's starting to weaken. Let's look at the evolution of it over the past couple of hours, and you'll see what I mean. It was a lot more robust just even an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. Developed right over Bulverde, moved into Timberwood Park, had some wind gusts along with it, and then it headed down to the south with some small-sized hail as it passed through O'Connor and 410, or Callahan and 410, that is, and now weakening as it heads into Lytle. All of the rain that we have on the radar is going to be coming to an end this evening, especially by sunset. Important to note, some good, healthy rain this afternoon and evening west of San Antonio, where we have very drought conditions. We've got severe and extreme drought conditions. I'll break that down for you in just a little bit, the drought monitor, along with how much rain has fallen and where within that drought monitor. Again, these showers coming to an end, particularly around and shortly after sunset. But guess what? We have more rain chances ahead, more rain opportunities to look forward to. Tomorrow, similar coverage. By Thursday, we're at 60%. That should be the most widespread, the most numerous showers and storms Thursday afternoon. And even Friday, pretty good shot at 40%. And then chances really fall off this upcoming weekend. That drought monitor, how much rain has fallen and where in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. It has been nearly 10 years since 75-year-old Paula Boyd brutally murdered in her San Antonio apartment. Today, jurors in the retrial of R.C. Curtis, the man accused in her death, heard opening statements and saw disturbing crime scene photos. Curtis, who was married to Boyd's granddaughter at the time, has pled not guilty. His first trial ended in a mistrial in 2021. Prosecutors say he killed Boyd, stole her credit and debit cards. But the defense argued that other men were involved and the crime scene had been tampered with. Testimony resumes tomorrow morning. We are live streaming this trial. You can watch on KSAT Plus, KSAT.com, or KSAT's YouTube page.
A teenager accused of accidentally shooting and killing his younger brother last month. Today, he's being released from juvenile detention and into his grandmother's custody. This is a story we've been following closely since it happened. On July 25th, the 13-year-old was with his brother, 8-year-old Daniel Casares, when that gun went off, killing the 8-year-old. The teen is now charged with manslaughter. As part of the conditions of his release, the judge says he will be required to attend counseling sessions.
You're going through feelings right now that none of us in here probably understand. I need for you to be open and communicate that with your therapist.
Additionally, that teen cannot have any contact with guns, ammunition, or anyone who was inside the home on the day of the shooting, besides siblings. We're getting our first look at the Wilson County leaders who were indicted for misusing county property. That is according to court papers obtained by KSAT. Brenda Trevino is accused of overpaying for a semi-truck last year and selling a county road grader without an auction.
Also pictured are Wilson County Precinct 3 Commissioner Jeffrey Pierdola and business owner Clinton Wyatt. They're named in that indictment. Pierdola confirmed the indictment but said he has no comment, calling some details inaccurate.
Trevino, who is running for county judge, and Wyatt did not respond to requests for comment.
How many police officers does San Antonio need? Well, some council members are adamant the answer is more than we have. Budget talks beginning in earnest this week.
And City Hall reporter Garrett Berger was at a budget work session that focused on police. So Garrett, how many officers does San Antonio have right now?
There are just under 2,900 uniformed San Antonio police officers in the proposed budget for next year. About 118 of those are new positions, though a lot of that comes from simply converting vacant airport police and parks police into San Antonio police officer positions or staffing up a new substation. The real focus here on the city council as they look at the budget is on patrol officers, people on the street responding to 911 calls, or the city hopes possibly doing some proactive work as well. Now, the city has a 5-year plan to try to put 360 officers, more officers, onto the street to help allow more time for proactive policing. That's stuff like traffic enforcement or checking in on abandoned houses. Given the $173 million budget deficit the city's trying to close over 2 years, staff are only recommending adding 25 patrol officers this upcoming year. But some council members want more. Instead of 25, they want 65, which had been part of an earlier version of the city's plan. Though not everyone's convinced more is always the answer.
That was a commitment that we made to residents to have those 65 police officers. Residents don't care about our elections and who said it when. They care about the commitment that was made to them.
And so what are better returns on investment? It's integrated approaches, right, that include addressing root causes of crime. And it's a much better investment. So, for instance, lighting.
Adding 65 officers instead of 25 will cost another $8 million over the next 2 years. Now, the money's going to have to come from somewhere, and it's not exactly clear where it will be or where it would be yet. Though during the initial budget presentation, we heard at least one supporter, Councilman Mark White, suggest that some of the money could possibly come from what the city's paying to keep a low-barrier homeless shelter open an extra year. Whatever happens, there are going to be choices, and we'll see where it ends up next month. Live outside City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Garrett, thank you. Today we are hearing directly from one of the key players in the negotiations over a new downtown Spurs arena.
The Spurs chief legal officer and general counsel Bobby Pettis sat down with our RJ Marquez to break down the deal before the city council votes on Thursday and the public vote that could come in November. Here's a piece of their conversation.
How confident are you that the City Council will come to an agreement to approve the term sheet this Thursday?
But we're excited about the support that we have, and we're looking forward to a successful passage.
Bobby Perez, for the first time, speaking on behalf of Spurs Sports and Entertainment and the proposed term sheet for the city's part of funding for a downtown arena.
The funding for the arena is visitor funded based, and it's will be funded with San Antonio residents. It's visitor funds from the state of Texas that can't be used for streets, roads, sidewalks, police, or fire. It can only be used for venues like the arena we're proposing.
There's been some concerns from the mayor about potentially going north of $489 million.
The framework of the term sheet that City Council will consider on Thursday caps the city of San Antonio at their visitor funds at $489 million. The county is also capped at $311 million. Any funds required to complete the arena after that are on the San Antonio Spurs.
Perez told KSAT that Spurs Sports and Entertainment, city and county staff have worked on the framework for the current term sheet for months now.
We delivered a concept term sheet early May, and we've got it substantially done Friday night, and in the final form is what you see today. All the information probably predated that, probably by some 6 to 12 months.
There has been a little bit of time to kind of evaluate this from all sides, basically.
Yes, of course. I would add just so much so that, our studies, our experts, our position, we're willing to make that over $2 billion investment into this project.
The term sheet draft increases SS&E's community benefit package to $75 million and details a lengthy lease agreement.
The reference in the term sheet is a lease agreement and a non-relocation agreement for the next 30 years, and we're looking forward to that and, calling downtown, our new home and San Antonio home for the decades to come.
The mayor has brought up questions about needing more time and that why are we rushing through getting the term sheet voted upon.
The construction time frame for this project is probably about 60 months, and so that's almost 5 years. Part two is we are about 60 days away from early voting, and we think it's important that the ultimate decider, the citizens of San Antonio, citizens of Bexar County, they have all the information.
What about the county vote in November?
It's a full-on election, and we'll be out going to the voters, to their neighborhood associations, their community groups, their churches, and reaching out to them and sharing information with them and asking them to support this effort.
RG Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, so you've heard from the Spurs. Coming up a little bit later, Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones set to join us live on our KSAT Q&A segment to talk about the Spurs and that project. That's happening around 6:30 tonight.
Still ahead here on the news at 6, drivers are going to feel the latest road closure in town. We'll show you how to get around all that traffic.
And it is an exciting day for college students. After the break, we're going to take you inside move-in day at UTSA.
A big road closure we want to let you know about. The I-10 eastbound exit ramp to UTSA Boulevard is now permanently closed. It is part of the Loop 1604 North Expansion project. There are a couple of detour options for the drivers in that area, and we have those listed right now on our website at ksat.com. You can scan this QR code here or just look for this article on our homepage.
UTSA students meeting their roommates, unpacking their dorms, or packing stuff, their bags in their dorms. It's a day of mixed emotions. Parents we spoke with both excited and sad. Students, we asked them about the essentials that they brought to make their dorm room a home.
My most important essential I think I brought was my refrigerator. Okay, to keep all my cool fruit and stuff.
Anything else you brought? Like you need
my air purifier, right. My velvet hangers, okay. Toilet paper, duh.
Toilet paper.
Duh.
There you go, duh. By the way, classes officially begin for Roadrunners next Monday.
Shower shoes, shower caps.
Shower shoes.
That's always what I think of.
See, the coolest thing I thought I brought was old record advertisements.
Oh,
or records of the time. We kind of wallpapered our dorm with them, We thought we were really cool.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thought being the key word there.
I had some weather instruments I brought with me. That was cool.
That tracks.
Of course.
Yeah.
Totally
I
cool.
believe that.
Yeah.
Well, within the meteorology department, it was normal.
Your Bunsen burners, all that stuff.
That was in the lab at the meteorology department.
Pen protector.
A lot of them. You never know when they're going to pop on you. Oh, boy.
Some tape for the middle of your, glasses.
Of course. And extra suspenders to go around.
There you go.
Come on. We've seen the pictures.
Yeah, we've seen young.
We have seen young Cass.
Myra has seen the most recent one that just popped back
The
up.
Kasky Curls, they make an appearance annually on
do.
KSAT.
Yep. You gotta wait for it.
Kasky Fiesta hair.
Back when I had enough to do it, it was great, right? All right, so take a look at our authority radar. This thunder shower is really weakening as it moves down I-35 through Atascosa City into Lytle. Natalia, I know you have a lightning strike nearby. This is all really falling apart, probably even before it can make it to Devine. There is an outflow boundary that's on the far east side of Bexar County, headed toward Lavernia, Sutherland Springs, Floresville, Stockdale. That's headed eastward, even to Seguin. There's the off chance this could kickstart a new shower, but I think it's unlikely. I don't think we have the unstable atmosphere necessary for that. Let's head farther to the west, and a lot of this is now just starting to push into Mexico and out of our area, but still Crystal City down to Carrizo Springs, Maverick County as well. Good, soaking, healthy rainfall. A little bit of lightning and thunder with that. Put it into motion for you. This is all headed to the south and southwest. There it is. It's going generally to the southwest. Everything that's out there is going to be coming to an end around it, especially after sunset this evening. Really quick look at how much rain has fallen, particularly from the downpour that moved through Bexar County. And look at far northwest side, not far from Scenic Loop in Gray Forest, near San Geronimo. Look at this yellow. The yellow always indicates at least 2 inches of rain. That's estimated by Doppler radar. Up in Timberwood Park, 1.5. You get closer to Stone Oak, 0.9 inches. So decent accumulations out there. And even around the medical center, you see this green between a half inch to an inch of rainfall from that one downpour. These are pretty efficient rainmakers that we have. Now let's talk about the drought monitor, okay? This is updated every Thursday. And so this is the one from last Thursday. And I outlined the severe drought areas, and within that we have the extreme and exceptional drought. So now let's put that on top of rainfall over the last 24 hours. And you see particularly Medina County and parts of northwest Bexar County and even farther to the west, Brackettville up to Rock Springs. Some decent accumulations, not necessarily significantly impactful, but better than nothing. And it really fell where we need it for the most part. All right, here's our futurecast. Tomorrow's going to be similar coverage as today, just not necessarily in the exact same spots, but we'll see the development between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. tomorrow is our window of opportunity for another round of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could be some wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour within some of those storms, but come sunset tomorrow evening, it all dies off. Upper level heat high, it's not over us. That's why the door is open for these disturbances to move in from the north. The heat highs over the four corners. It helps us out. Look at that. 78 degrees right now. Talk about rain-cooled air. It's mid-August at 6 o'clock. We're at 78. We'll take that. Dew point is 67, so still fairly humid. But look at this. 76 in Tarpley, 74 Sabinal. Meanwhile, 91 in Nixon, 90 in Floresville, 91 in Gonzales. You can tell where it's rained just by looking at the temperatures. 75 in the morning, 91 at noon. Right up near 100, but I think we'll be 98, 99 for that high temperature tomorrow. And rain chances are really going to be the highest on Thursday. We're at 60%. That's when the rain should be the most numerous. But Friday, another decent opportunity at 40% before rain chances disappear as we get into the weekend. Coming up at 6:45, Hurricane Aaron and some other tropical development we'll be watching.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
All right, local guy, local school. He's the starter. Really happy for Richard Torres.
Yes, a lot of people are happy for him. Just a nice young man, tall, strong kid, definitely worthy of being QB1. Well, we got to sit down with Richard yesterday. We got part of that interview coming up. And in high school football, the Judson Rockets say this season they're all about taking off. We got it coming up. There you go. So we're rolling. We're ready? We're good? All right. And with that, we kicked off our sit-down interview with Incarnate Word starting quarterback Richard Torres. Yesterday, we sat down with the Southside High School alum to talk about winning the starting job, his path to where he is now in his college football career, what type of leader he is, and a whole lot more. We talked for about 13 minutes, and we started off by asking him his thoughts in being named the starter.
Just can't thank God enough. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment a long time in my career, and so I'm just ready, more ready than ever.
Talk about UIW's quarterback room, the guys that you beat out, and what's your QB room like?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of love for those guys, EJ and Dion and even Mikey. We all love each other. We're all tight, close-knit group, and we like to joke around and play around. But, you know, when we get on that football field, it's competitive, and we push each other to be better. But we know when we step in that locker room, it's all love.
When you're named the starter, do you feel slightly bad for the others because you know they were competing for QB1 as well?
Yeah, of course, just because, like I said, like those are like brothers to me, and I love those guys a lot. And so it's kind of hard seeing, you know, they're not able to live out some of their dreams and be able to play. But, I mean, it's just how the dice roll.
Right.
I had to sit and do my time, too. And so, not to say that they got to do that, but I'm just, you know, it is what it is. It's how college football is. It's a business.
It is, absolutely. And you can catch much more with our sit-down interview with Richard Torres tomorrow night at 7 on KSAT Sports, now available on KSAT Plus. And in big game coverage, the Judson Rockets football team has 8 new assistant coaches this season on the field. They'll be returning 4 starters on offense and 4 on defense from last season. And Dave Campbell's Texas football has them projected to finish 6th in District 29 6A this year. But the Rockets, they are laser focused on game 1 against Johnson on Thursday night, August 28th.
The first game, we went into overtime in the Alamo Dome at the Kickoff Classic. The second game, they beat us on the last drive, 3-second kick right here in this end zone. Last year's game, they beat us 13 seconds left in the game. So we definitely know that record. Coach Miller and those guys over there do a great job, and you know we're doing a great job over here. It's going to be a great matchup. It's one of the best in the city, if you ask me.
We played them last year. We should have won, but we came up short. So I feel like it motivated us this year to just make sure that we just don't come up short and make sure that if we come out and we are very strong, we also have to finish very strong.
Takeoff is the term the Rockets are using to motivate themselves. So let's have senior linebacker Asa Duhart break down what that acronym means.
So takeoff, the T is trust, the A is accountability, the K is knowledge. You got to know what you're doing. E is effort, O is opportunity. We have a new opportunity every year. The first F is focus, and the second left is fight. It really just brings a new intentionality, new feeling to the season.
If Coach Soto's talking and he but we need to take off, that's what it is, then we know that that's when it's time for us to lock in. Our parents know that that's our theme and that's what we're focused on this year. So I feel like it's very good that everybody knows that that's what we're trying to do this year.
Take off. I dig it. We're getting closer to the 2025 KSAT Pigskin Classic on Thursday, August 28th at Ferris Stadium. Sotomayor will face Clark. The game will be broadcast live on KSAT 12 and streamed live on KSAT Plus, the Big Game Coverage app, and KSAT.com. We'll have coverage throughout the week leading up to kickoff, including a 30-minute pregame show starting at 6:30 p.m.
And I remember that Judson-Johnson game.
Man.
In the dome.
That was awesome.
That was a classic.
It sure was.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
Good one. Thank you, Larry. All right, our KSAT Q&A with Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones is next. She's right here in the studio.
Tuesday has become Mayor's Day on the KSAT Q&A, and we are pleased to be joined by Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones, who joins us to talk about what everybody's been talking about, it seems like, Project Marvel. We also want to work in some questions about the budget process and police officers and things like that. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Steve, we only got 7 days left. Is that right?
Yeah, 7 days till I retire. I know. I'm here for a limited time, like McRib.
Yeah. But you're here for a good time, right?
Yeah,
You're here for a long time. Well, you've been here a long time.
30 years.
Is a long time.
30 years.
And we're thankful for it.
I know.
Thank you.
Let's not talk about 7 days. Okay, so we have a ton of discussion about Project Marvel. You really have been pushing for a pause on this. Yesterday really kind of brought that to a head. You want to vote on Thursday to actually get the council to agree. Let's take that break to get the information that you've been talking about, further economic analysis. But you need 6 votes to do that. Do you think you have those 6 votes for Thursday?
So let me back up, because I think the real question here is why are some of my colleagues pushing for a vote on August 21st? That is an artificial deadline, right? And some of my colleagues asked to vote on the term sheet before they had the term sheet. Mind you, we have only had this document since Monday morning. Why vote on this without the opportunity frankly, without the benefit of the people's feedback on that term sheet? So we have yet to hear a good reason why folks are rushing into voting on this on August 21st. There is no reason to do that. I think our voters deserve two things. They deserve an independent economic impact study, help us understand, again, the true costs and benefits of this. Let's have a conversation about that. And then secondly, let's make sure we are incorporating people's feedback into this, not only on people's feedback on the impact study, on the independent impact study, something that has to, and I've been very clear in the kind of independent economic impact study, something in no way affiliated with the Spurs organization or their ownership group. I think this is just basic due diligence. That's my first condition. The second condition is I'd like every one of my council colleagues to have at least 2 in-person town halls, engagements, public engagements with their constituents. Get your constituents' feedback on the economic impact study and on the term sheet. That arena, as it says now in the term sheet, $1.3 billion. The city would be on the hook for $489 million. Voters would like to provide their council member feedback before their council member votes on that term sheet. I was just in District 10 yesterday at their budget town hall, and I laid out for folks kind of where we are. Lots of attention on the issue because they understand the connection to the budget, and frankly, lots of interest and lots of desire to be heard. My real concern on this, based on the feedback that I've received at the office, both written, phone calls, etc., my concern, I hear from Spurs fans, I love the Spurs. However, I hate how this process has been run. And if something doesn't change, they will vote against it in November. So this independent economic study and the public input is an opportunity, I think, to make sure that the November vote is as successful as possible.
That's where I asked the question about the deadline. And August 21st or 28th or whenever it is, isn't there a ticking clock that's happening right now because this needs to get on the November ballot? I mean, don't you need something from the city, though, for the county to even carry out this election?
I think they would like that, but they don't need that. The county has already called their election. If the county needed something from the city to call their election, they would not have called their election.
Yeah.
So they have what they needed, right? Again, their calculus was, how do we, their calculus was different, which is why they don't have a community benefits agreement. They have essentially just said, here's Spurs, here's $311 million. Our calculus is different, and which is why our due diligence is different. Again, though, the 21st is an arbitrary deadline. It's not based on anything. I have asked the city manager to provide the city council an actual deadline, an actual timeline rather of things. If the Spurs, fulfill their contract and are there until 2032, what does that mean for our timeline and when we have to make decisions? If they leave early, what does that mean? If the vote in November is unsuccessful, what does that mean? We need to be operating from the same, frankly, the same song sheet, same pieces of information in terms of when you need to act, because others would like you to do things on their timeline. I understand that. But in any negotiation, you heard me say it last week, any negotiation, the two most important things, time and information. You do not cut yourself short in terms of time because you use all of that time to get all the information and be in the best negotiating position possible. That's what I want for our city. I want a deal with the Spurs. Where are they? I want a deal with the Spurs.
Yeah.
We all want this, right? I think it's important, though, that our folks feel comfortable with the data and the numbers that are being presented, which is why the independent study is important, and our voters want to be heard on this.
I'm glad you said that, because there is at least a perception out there that you don't want to deal with the Spurs. And I think part of that comes from a news conference that you had yesterday where you were with Cops Metro and some of the people that are not for a deal with the Spurs. They want the, I mean, Jimmy Drennan, the father who was with you, has said the Spurs should pay for all of it. The Spurs should pick it all up.
Well,
that's their perception that you are not for the Spurs. So that's why I wanted to set that straight right now.
That's a misperception, and Father Jimmy knows it, and all the other supporters up there know that. You heard me say it up there.
Yeah.
And if there was a problem with anything that I said, then those folks could have stepped aside. But they stood with me because they know we at least need to have the information, the independent data on this to make an informed decision. Because I think Father Drennan knows there may actually be a good deal, right? And I think we have to be open-minded about that. I certainly am. No one has ever heard me say I don't want a deal. No one.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the $489 million that the city could be on the hook for.
That's right,
If
our city
this were to move forward.
Right.
Part of that, though, is a special taxing zone where dollars essentially generated in the Project Marvel area would be going back to the state anyway. That's not something that the city would get to keep. So this does present that benefit. We would be able to retain some money, part of that $489 million. And I know the funding is complicated, but I wanted to point that out.
Let me say that, so that's important. So what you're talking about is the project finance zone,
Yes.
which is one piece of how the city makes up its contribution portion. The other piece is ground leases, right? The Spurs are saying, hey, we're going to guarantee this amount of development in this area. And oh, by the way, the property tax revenue that would normally come into the general fund is not going to come into the general fund. It would go into helping finance this. And so I think it's really important. There was a great analogy somebody said, just because your taxes are being withheld doesn't mean you're not paying taxes. Right? So just the fact that something didn't come into the general fund does not mean it could not have come into the general fund. So I think that's important because we're foregoing that in order to help finance the Spurs Arena, which is why it is called the city's contribution.
I want to go back to a much simpler number that really was
Sure.
my first question. 11 people on the council, you got to have 6 to get something done. Do you think you have 6 votes in order to approve a pause on Project Marvel on Thursday?
Well, I'll continue working with my colleagues and advocate for why our voters deserve independent data and why our voters deserve to be heard before their council member signs them up for $489 million. Let's never forget also the environment that we're in, right? We are already seeing the impact, continuing to see the impacts of the tariffs, continuing to see the impacts of the implementation of the reconciliation bill. I mean, we just had a budget discussion today. The first budget session, rather, was on public safety. And what I have asked the city manager to look at is, hey, we need to tabletop this. We know that some services, some federal entities are going to decrease their funding for certain things. We're going to see the implementation of the reconciliation bill, Social Security, Medicare, SNAP, all these things we know are going to be significantly impacted. So the most vulnerable are going to be impacted. So we need to help ourselves understand that. As part of that, we also need to understand, hey, what is the public safety's ability to respond to some of those things? As folks may know, 80% of the things that fire responds to is actually medical, right? And so we've got to really tease out the strength of this deal in the context of the very difficult economic environment that we are about to go into. I think that is just basic due diligence, and we should go into this eyes wide open.
How do you feel about what you've seen? You've seen the term sheet now, the agreement between the city manager and the Spurs. How do you feel about it when you look at those numbers?
Yeah, so this is a generational investment. So there's not feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can either like it or dislike it.
Well, I want the independent economic impact study, right? For me, the term sheet is the test, right? The independent economic study, impact study, though, helps me understand. That's like the study guide. It's like, okay, these are kind of what you should be looking for before you provide feedback on the term sheet. And so it is really hard, I would argue, to say, is this good or is this not? Because we don't have an independent review of those numbers. We only have the Spurs' numbers. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves. The other thing, I'll be honest with you, just the other morning, I went to opening day at Pre-K for SA on the west side, right down the street from where I went to high school. And I was looking at those kids. I was so excited. It was many of them, their very first day of school ever. And I had to just look at them and say, you know what, if we don't get this doggone thing right, it is that generation that is going to continue, that will pay the bill for our poor mistakes. We have the time to get this right. August 21st is an artificial deadline. If folks like what I've articulated, you want an independent study and you want to provide your council person feedback before they vote on your behalf, then call them. DM them, send them messages on social media, encourage them to support my resolution on Thursday.
What if the vote doesn't go your way on Thursday?
Well, we'll have to kind of figure out what that looks like. It is. I would be shocked. I am shocked now that people want to vote on a term sheet that they have not taken to their people and explain to them $489 million in this environment, it's also just kind of basic. This is a basic level of due diligence. Again, I can't even, the feedback that I got last night at that D10 town hall, folks are interested in hearing about this, and they deserve the opportunity to do so.
We'll see what happens on Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Jones, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. All right, I want to take a look at the CPS energy outage map right now. We had some downpours a short time ago. Hopefully they hit your house. Hopefully they didn't knock out your power, because some CPS customers are without power right now.
Yeah, this is that outage map right now showing a little over 13,272 customers without power. We're keeping an eye on this. Hopefully the lights come back on and that outage number dwindles and power can be restored.
Yeah, no surprise at all. As you look at the outages, that's where those heavy storms went through earlier.
Makes sense as we take a look outside with live cam. It's just good to have solid chances at this point in the summer, honestly, Adam.
The downpour that hit Bexar County and the lightning that caused some of the power outages we recently reported on has really fizzled out. I mean, you look at the last hour and it really dissipated after moving away from Lackland all the way down into Devine. Now just some remnant showers left over, but it left in its path 1 to 2 inches of rain across a good chunk of the north side and west side of San Antonio. Just look at the 12-hour rainfall totals here and you'll see if we can get to switch over. There we go. And you look at that, it's mainly west of 281 today. That's where the sweet spot was. But those of you east of 281 and those of you that didn't get the rain, but you can see the dark clouds in the distance, just know you have more opportunities for the next several days. The next 3 afternoons, we're likely to have these scattered to even numerous showers and downpours. Right now, the last of the activity is parts of Zavala County and Maverick County. Just good soaking rain is what this is. I want to talk about tomorrow. Similar time frame, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. is our window of opportunity for the showers and thunderstorms to develop. The off chance of a strong storm, but for the most part, we're talking wind gusts just below severe threshold and hail maybe pea size. Notice the location too. I know the computer is showing it hill country and in the similar spots again tomorrow, but it could really be anywhere on the map. A lot of it comes down to small scale features that these computers can't pick up on this far out until they actually develop even outflow boundaries elsewhere in our area. That's one thing to consider. But 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., that's the time frame, window of opportunity. Another quick 1 to 2 inches for some neighborhoods as these showers and thunderstorms move through. I mean, the aquifer's 29 feet below the August average. We could use the rain. 40 to 60% coverage in the afternoons, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday stands out as really our best chance with that 60% coverage. Really quickly, Hurricane Erin, Category 2. It's slowly been weakening, but still max sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. It's going to stay out to sea, traveling between the east coast of the U.S. and Bermuda, maintaining strength until it gets into the colder waters of the North Atlantic and it weakens. But we're also watching a few areas, a few little tropical waves that are out there. One with the likelihood, 60% chance of turning into the next tropical cyclone, tropical depression, tropical storm, potentially even hurricane, and a 30% chance of this cluster of storms that just moved off of Africa to turn into a tropical system as well. 98 the high today, and actually there was thunder heard and reported at the airport, but no rain officially at San Antonio International today. Look at that record high, 108. Shows you the potential. 74 Uvalde, 76 Hondo, 75 Kerrville, then 93 Cotulla, 91 Pleasanton and New Braunfels. You can tell where we have the rain cooled air and those outflow boundaries from the storms. Upper 90s again tomorrow. Same, I think, coverage of rain, just not in the exact same spots. But when it comes to how much of our area should get hit, it's going to be similar tomorrow as what we got today. Tomorrow, upper 90s for most of us. Where we get a little extra sun, we could have 100 degrees. By this weekend, the off chance of a shower Saturday, most of the weekend's looking sunny and dry in the upper 90s. Be back in a minute.
Let's take a look at what's coming up tonight on ABC's Prime Time at 7 o'clock. Right after the show, it is High Potential. Then at 8, it's Will Trent, followed by the Night Beat at 10. We're back right after this. That is all our time here on the News at 6. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you on the Night Beat at 10.